Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Cryptid Crunch. We have a fun, fantastic show coming up, and we're going to be discussing, death and spirit guides and what we see from our family when before they pass. So stay tuned, guys. We got lots of cool stories coming up. All right, so Kale, I'm happy to see you. How's it going?
It's been a crazy week. How are you?
Good. Crazy week. Good, bad, ugly.
Yeah. Well, in the Midwest here, the weather is so bipolar. So it's been a mix of you have to wear a jacket in the morning, and then you need shorts by the afternoon, and then, rain and tornadoes. So it's just all over the place.
Yeah, I feel you. That's pretty much our weather up here. It's like suddenly springtime comes and we hit it really hard with the nice weather. Just all of a sudden it became like double digits overnight, and then all of a sudden yesterday the clouds rolled in and it started to snow again. So.
Yeah, I feel that. I mowed once and then it's been a monsoon ever since.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Speaking of the South, we got Aunt Donna
Hello.
joining us on the show today. How's it going?
Going great. Got another book coming out soon.
Yay! We'll have to definitely talk about that. Promote you for sure. So how's your week been?
It's been doing great. A lot of, except for the proof book showed a big flaw in the formatting, so had to get that fixed. So it kind of set the publishing back a little bit. We'll find out Wednesday if the fix worked.
Oh. All right, and we have Allie joining the show today. This is going to be an awesome show. Yeah, Allie, how has your week been?
A little bit hectic between working my two jobs. I've been just crafting, and then the weird spiritual stuff never stops. So
I feel you. And speaking of weird spiritual stuff, I guess we should just get right into it. Kale, have you do you have visits from your family members at all that have passed on?
So I don't know if anybody is, spiritual, but I am very much a believer in energies, and I am a huge empath. So yes, I do believe in presence of spirits, and I do get visited by past family members. I actually have a ghost that I believe is a distant relative, and I don't know who he is. So yeah, I don't know if that creeps anybody out, how much everybody is a believer, but that's my personal take on everything.
I have experiences with seeing my grandfather just after he passed. Our tradition when I lived with my grandparents was trying to wake up and beat my grandfather to the TV so that we can watch cartoons together. And it was always on the Disney Channel anyway. So really, it was just something that we did. And I think it was like a couple days after he had passed away that I saw him running from his bedroom down the hallway. But the thing is, he was in his underwear, so I'm just like, that's odd. not the first time or the last time I saw it. Like it wasn't. It was normal for him to walk around in his underwear, but I mean, it was just like it just that. Why it was that memory?
Right.
I just I don't understand the whole him running down the hallway in his underwear, but and every so often I know he checks up on us because I smell his cologne.
Mm-hmm.
And not many guys that I know wear Old Spice. And until one day where I had mentioned, I mean, do guys still wear Old Spice? And apparently it's still common that guys do wear Old Spice, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah, smell is a huge factor that is tied into spiritual energies that will be pulled in. So yeah, that's a crazy memory because that alone smell is tied to your memory in general for like just everyday alive
yeah,
instances. So like for that
Mm-hmm.
to be pulled in with like spiritual and the past, that's a
yeah.
huge one. That's a huge indicator.
Ali, how about you? I'm sure we're gonna get lots of cool stories from you tonight. But any family members that you know of that are close by?
My grandfather's always around. Um, he passed away almost 15 years ago.
Oh,
I felt him within the first week.
oh wow.
I had a shirt, one of his shirts hanging on a hook on the ceiling from the ceiling. There's no fan, no vent nearby, and all of a sudden it starts going like this. The hanger starts going back and forth.
Oh wow.
And then the card that had just come back from the printers for his service falls down from where it was pinned. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, somebody's here. And there was a few years where he left for a bit or kept quiet for a bit. And then 3 years ago, he just started making a ruckus and never stopped. But that's kind of normal for my family. Like down my mom's line, a lot of the women knew, like my mom, her mom, her mom, her mom. They all knew when somebody was going to die. They all had
Oh wow.
weird visits after somebody would pass away, like within hours.
Oh wow.
So it's not uncommon. But with smell especially when there's a really big message from my grandpa. It's like I just walked back into his house. The smell just hits you like a wave. It is
Mm-hmm.
so strong, and it's like, oh, okay, I need to pay attention. This is important.
Yeah. And every so often I'll have that that memory rush when I'm eating you know food that reminds me of my grandparents. I had that with a banana cream pie at a restaurant one day. Just like big rush of memories just really came back to me, and I had tears in my eyes. And just like wow, banana cream pie of all the things to remind me of my grandparents.
You know, see, the man that follows me, he followed me from my house in St. Louis and he followed me here. He's an old, like, 60-year-old man. Hang on one second. My cat is coming out here. So he's like an old 60-year-old man, and his name is Frank. And the reason I know this is because he wears like a blue mechanic's jumpsuit and it has his name embroidered on it. I don't know my father. So, like, it could be a distant relative connected to him or
Yeah.
something like that. But what's really weird is one night I was with a group of friends and we were doing a spirit box, and my friend Katie was here. And, like, we were like, you know, hey, is anybody present? And it said Frank, of course.
Mhm.
And then we were like, you know, is there anything you want to tell us? Like, you know, what's going on? And you know, he said garage. That night, her garage got broken into. And it was so
Oh.
strange because, like, that connection, like, how would it have ever happened? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that's why little moments like that, I definitely believe. And the fact that it's just like, ever since I was younger, I would say like things to my grandma. I would be like, you know, I could feel and see people that weren't really there, but I'm not crazy, right? Because I'm like, I know nobody's there right now. Like, I know I see nobody, but in my mind, like, I feel a presence. And so to my grandma, I would say, like, who is this woman sitting there with like the pearl necklace? And she'd be like, what does she look like? And I would tell her she's wearing like a pink suit. She has a pearl necklace and she has short cropped hair. And she'd be like, that's your great grandmother Pearl. And like everybody would be like, what? And I didn't know what was going on, you know. And I've had moments through my life where I've told people things about themselves and they're like, how could you know that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just think I'm saying gibberish.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
real instances even freak me out, but that's why I'm always pushing those boundaries, and I do believe, you know, in energies being left behind.
Yeah. How about you, Donna? You said something about having family, or
Yeah, George has been around for as long as I can remember. Um, I did learn how to communicate him using dowsing rods. Found out he likes being called George. He is a blood ancestor, and he's an Italian blood ancestor, which I'm only like 11% Italian, so this is really cool. But and I've even seen him uh, since I got married. Never saw him before, just heard him, just felt him. But I was in the master bath one time, and I looked in the mirror, and I thought I saw Carl walk into the bedroom. And I turned around to speak to him, and it was the middle of the day, and I'm like, there's no one here. And if there had been someone there, they would have had to come back across in order to leave the bedroom. There was no other way out of the bedroom. I'm like, I look, I go and I look out in the living room. There's nobody there. And in this house, I can look down the hallway, and in the middle of the hallway is the stairs, and then it goes this way to the two bedrooms on the west side. But where my desk is, I can't see the corner. And I've seen who I thought was Carl when he was at work, come across there and then not come into the room. And I lean over to see the corner, and there's nobody there.
oh,
So I know it has to be George, and he's probably presenting himself in a way that I won't be upset. And I think back to when I was a child and when I was extremely sick, and my grandpa, who died when I was just 8, would sit beside me. And I wonder now if it was grandpa, or if it was George in the form of grandpa, so that I wouldn't be afraid.
oh, yeah. Huh.
But yeah, he's been very comforting. He's been very informative. Yeah, if you know how to use dowsing rods, they're very easy. Just make them out of a wire hanger, and then take 2 handles off the jumping rope.
Mhm.
Because if you put them in there, there's no way that you can do that. You can control them. And then you just ask yes and no questions. And it's really wild to watch them cross or go out, because cross is yes, out is no. And when I found out he was an Italian ancestor, I'm like, oh, I should be calling you Georges then instead of George. And he's, no. Okay, we'll stick with George.
I actually had a weird, my husband actually had a weird experience the other day, and he's not, he doesn't believe in the whole spirit thing. And he actually called me upstairs because he saw what he thought I was in the bathroom, and I'm like, no. So, well, that was weird because I saw someone moving around in the bathroom. I saw a pink arm. I'm just like, a pink arm. So yeah, it looked like to him, I guess it was reaching it to open the door or something of the shower, and I'm just like, nope, that definitely was not me. I was downstairs watching TV. So yeah, I somewhere around here, I guess is I guess someone's passing through. I don't know. I do believe that my house has like a little passageway where spirits tend to just pass through, and they don't stay around long enough to get to know us. Hopefully that stays that way for a while.
They've got another destination in mind.
Yeah. So I think is my house is just a passageway to wherever they need to go. But yeah, I guess whoever it was wanted to say hi to my husband first.
Right. You could be what is it? Oh shoot, I've heard about this before. It's like spiritual repetition. And when there is an energy zone where the spirit has just like been in such a routine where they have lived their life, like say your house, where they ate, slept, lived every day, and they're so restless, they're in like say limbo or purgatory, and they don't know what they're doing, they have unfinished business, they just repeat that same loop
Yeah.
of life in that energy spiral. So like you like think of your house as a blueprint. You just have this ghost like going through like a time, like a Groundhog's Day, every day just living their life on a loop, like unfinished spirit business going throughout your house.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think about that all the time.
And Ellie, any cool experiences like that that you've had?
Oh, my goodness, where to even start? Like, it literally started when I was a child. I'd be like, there's a person there. And my mom would be like, kind of like that moment of quiet and then just like go with it. Like, because most parents, like, at some point go, no, there's no one there. My mom was like, okay, we'll deal with it. There was never hesitation. Like, even when my cousins had monsters under the bed, she treated it like there was something under the bed. I saw something. My cousin saw something. My mom did her little trap. And when she took the bag past me, I went like this. And when I looked back under the bed, it was empty. Like, there was nothing there. And my cousins also said there was nothing there anymore. Wow. So, like, pretty sure mom did some little something there and actually got rid of it. And every other adult treated us like we were crazy. And she's just like, okay, there's a monster under the bed. We're going to deal with the monster under the bed. And it was gone. But, like, that stuff started from a very early age. Like, most of the weirdness has been in this house, I think, because it's my house. So the things are a little more comfortable about coming out in the open. I have a lady in white at the bottom of my stairs, and she just sort of sits at the near the front door. Doesn't do anything, but there's been times, because I'm so accident prone, where I start falling because I trip over my own feet and somebody rights me back up, and I can feel like you just get this very like warm motherly presence.
Oh,
and
wow.
Because there's been times where I start falling backwards and something pushes me right back up, and it feels like a mom or a grandma or like an auntie or something. Hey, you okay? You like catching you, like making sure you're good.
Yeah.
I did have something, I would say like rodent-like. I never saw it, but I know my cats saw it because it wasn't an actual animal, because they would chase it right through the living room and there'd be nothing there. But you could feel something nasty just ran through. Almost like that instinct you get when you see a rat or a mouse. That feeling. And there was nothing there though. And they would chase it to the front door, and after a while it stopped coming back. I think it didn't like being chased. Hey, love.
All right. So apparently there's lots of conversations happening in the chat here. So Carl Winston is Donna's husband. Hello, Carl. Dan Hollyfield. Hello, Dan. Everybody's saying hi to each other. And I'm cooking tonight, so I will have to run to the kitchen and turn everything off just before the show starts. Yes, I hope the element is off there, Dan. And then we have Eli in the chat as well. Eli T. Cash. Welcome to the show. And I know I saw. Oh, we have a Facebook user. First of all, you don't let any right at the top of the paper with instructions on administering morphine. Wow, that's interesting. I must be missing a part of that conversation. Factor of 10 mistakes. There's definitely a conversation there that I'm missing. But hello, Facebook user. I'm not sure which person you are. Molly, hi. Willow's house, halfway house to Trent. That's exactly how it feels. Because my cats will just out of the blue, just there's a spot on my floor here that kind of my cats are drawn to, and they'll sleep, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they'll just like jump up, do like weird dances, and then shoot up the stairs. And I think my Maine Coon kind of likes to follow them as they're passing through from. I think they're coming from my closet upstairs, and they go down the stairs into my front door, because that seems like the path that my cats like to take when they're following something. So yeah, it's like Shining Time Station for spirits over here. And I stay out of their way because I don't want to get involved or make them feel welcome to stay.
Like I don't know if it's accurate, but I once heard like Winnipeg was almost like a ley line hub.
Oh
Yeah.
So like there's quite a few ley lines that go across, and that is where spirits like to be drawn to.
Oh.
So
and I mean, we
playing a part.
Manitoba is basically swampland. Winnipeg was built on top of like hundreds of streams, and that's why our roads erode very quickly. So yeah, our city is not built properly in like a square formation. It's just like we'll put a house over here, make some roads, put a house over here, make some roads. Eventually we'll tie everything together.
Yeah, I live over in what's called the North End, and there's like 2 end sections nearby where it was a boundary, and then it's the new boundary, and then there's another boundary. So they sort of smashed it all together at some point.
There was no rhyme or reason for half of Winnipeg to be built.
Apparently, they need space to travel and do their activities. Come on, guys.
We have Grant Lankard. Hello. Welcome to the show. Oh, someone was commenting about your cats there, Kale. All our cats.
Catch ghosts and bugs all day.
It's funny because like I have tried to capture my cat's insane whatever it is. They'll just go. Mittens will just go squirrely, just out of the blue, and it's just like, what do you see? I guess it's
that they can connect with energies, because there's times that they're just like looking at stuff, or like they'll just immediately break out into the zoomies, and I'm like, what? Or they'll hear noises or just like look, and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable now.
It creeps me out when they just like stare off into space. It's like you're trying to look at what they're staring at, but you're not seeing it.
What do you
like,
see that I don't right now?
What's hanging on over in the corner there?
What's creepy is when my cats have like the weird staring thing, and then I kind of unfocus my eyes and then like look out the corner of my eye at the same time, and sometimes I'll see something that they're staring at, and it's just like, okay, I'm good now. I should not have done that. It is nice when because they're like an early warning system almost. They can whatever comes, they know right before me, and I can tell instantly when my grandpa it pops back up like really strong because my one cat will just be like, "Hi, hello, I'm going to do my little squirmy wormy thing on my thing here, like somebody's loving me up." She really likes his presence.
Hmm. And do you guys believe that the spirits that do follow you guys around are kind of like your spirit guides?
I don't know about guide, but definitely protector. Oh, you'll love this story.
Oh, okay.
My mother-in-law died. Loved my mother-in-law, didn't really like her, and went to bury her ashes. And my brother-in-law said everybody has to throw a shovel full of dirt. And I'm like, oh, that's nice for you, the kids. No, I had to go up, and nobody was around me to hear me say, "Take that, you so and so." And I put the shovel down, and I turned to walk away, and I felt a tug on the back of my uh, blouse, pulling me back, almost like it's going to pull me down into that little hole. And before I could totally fall, I felt a hand on my back push me back up and keep me from falling. And other people saw me and then, oh, you stumbled, you almost fell. And I no, you don't stumble backwards. And I definitely felt that tug, I definitely felt that hand that kept me from falling.
Oh, wow.
So, considering how accident prone I am, it's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I can consider my grandfather a spirit guide because, well, he never talks to me, so he just it's just like it's like kind of like yeah, I just feel I just know he's there, just like he floats by, and definitely things he he definitely likes to do like the odd trick once in a while where like he'll knock something over just to get my attention, and it's like, hey, pay attention. I'm here. But oh, go ahead.
I wish mine just knocked things over to get my attention. When I do something or thinking about doing something he doesn't approve of, I feel to the back of my head, and I'm like, and then I feel like I'm getting sworn at in French, which is his first language, and I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I won't do it again. It's usually when I try to take a lazy way out of doing something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I taught you better than that.
Every so often, like when I worked for Starbucks at one store in particular, for some reason, like I'd walk into a room and things that were put up in on the top shelves, they wouldn't necessarily. There's no rhyme or reason why they would fall, but it would always be when I'm in the room. When they would fall. It's like, come on, can things just not fall apart when I'm here?
So I went to, in this past September, I went to, here in Indianapolis, there's this kind of like spiritual community. It's called Camp Chesterfield, and they have this like kind of psychic fair, and everybody comes out and just kind of puts all of their energies out, and you can go and get readings. One thing that I did that was really cool is I got an aura photo. So they set it up with like an energy camera, and it took like all of my colors, and he saw my aura, and there were two like really strong orbs in the top corner, and he says, you can tell that like on this side there are really two strong male presences of energies in your life. And I was like, that's really interesting, because like I do have like a lot of uncles that have died, my grandpa's dead, but like I don't ever see or feel them. It's just Frank that always kind of hangs around, and he doesn't do like anything nefarious or like whatever. He's kind of just always there in the background. And he's given me the warning about the garage thing, and he kind of just like, I just always feel like he's a warm and gentle kind of guidance. But yeah, I don't know, I don't feel those kind of like two strong presences. So I don't know if like he's referencing Frank as one of those, and he's just kind of always there, just kind of watching out for me. But yeah, it was really interesting though. And everything else he said about like my kind of energy being intense and like wanting to like guide and learn and teach, like everything else about the art was really, really neat. But yeah, it was kind of crazy to see. Like I didn't expect him to say like, oh, you have two strong male energies that hang around you just from an aura photo. So that was a really interesting thing to do. If you guys ever get the chance to do that at any kind of place, I would recommend it.
Yeah. And one of my favorite things to do is hear people talk about seeing people near death experiences, or seeing people their loved ones before they passed on. Now, I do have a story from a podcast from a comedian that I follow, but I want to know if you guys have any of these experiences. Like, have you seen your family members prior to them passing on, or have any near-death experiences that you guys can talk about?
I've not had direct contact, but after a family member has passed, I've used the dowsing rods, and George has told me they're fine, they're okay now, they're together. Like my mom and dad was together now. My older brother was with them, and he's completely healed. Thing, like that. And that's very comforting.
Yeah, I haven't had any near-death experiences myself. Various people in my family have, including my mother.
Okay.
She almost drowned as a young girl. In some ways, her spiritual connection, I think, is a bit stronger than mine in one way because of that. But she says mine's stronger because I'm more open and I'm not terrified of it. And instead of shutting it out, I kind of just like let it be, or now exploring it. I have, with family that I've known, I'll wake up the morning where they pass and I'll just know something's off. And then the second the phone rings, it's like somebody's dead. And like when my one grandpa, my Gidu, was in the hospital, I had a dream that night, and we were sitting in a treehouse or something like it. It was almost like a child's playhouse the way it looked, but it was adult sized. It was very strange, and there was chairs around the table, and there was a bottle of 5-star whiskey, some homemade wine that I knew the smell of, didn't know why yet, and then a shot glass for him in front of him, and he said not to worry about the other two, they're not here yet, but it's not my time and I need to go back.
Oh, wow.
And I woke up and I was like really confused, because as far as I knew, he was still alive. And then a few hours later, the phone goes off and he had just passed away. And then the same thing happened with my young cousin when he passed away. Nobody even knew he was sick. But when the phone went off, I suddenly got very quiet, and I don't remember much else after the immediate aftermath. My mom found me hiding in the corner of my dad's computer room. I kind of pulled the door because the door went inwards. I pulled it, and it was hiding in the corner behind it, because if I hid, nobody could tell me what the phone call was about. And I was inconsolable already. And my mom said she didn't have to finish the sentence because I knew Johnny was gone. And then it was the same thing when my Baba passed. The phone went off and I just decline. The phone went off, decline. I go for my shower, and my boyfriend at the time picked up the phone, And when I get out of the shower, he's like, you need to call your mom back. And I'm like, no, I'm not calling her back. And he's like, it's your Baba. And I'm like, I'm not, no, you're not telling me this. And I knew before he even said anything that somebody was dead. And then
Wow.
with my grandpa, that one was hard because they didn't find him right away. So he had been gone for, they say 10 to 12 days. And I woke up one day and the world had cracked almost. It was like it just shifted. There was something so wrong. And for like 10 days, something was wrong. And it just, this sinking gut feeling. And every time his name was mentioned, it was just like my soul knew. And I kept dreaming about him. And then when my dad showed up at the school, I was like, somebody's dead. He's dead, isn't he? But I didn't say it out loud because, like, it sounds crazy when you think about it. Like, how would I know that somebody's dead just because? And we get home, and my mom's crying so hard you could hear her through, like, the second you walk into the house. And my grandma is sitting on the couch. And mind you, they've been divorced since my mom was 11. And it's like the only reason my mom would be crying that hard and my grandma would sit there looking like that is if she just had to break her little girl's heart, which only one way to do that. But I had knew before he was actually, like, anyone had found him that he was gone.
Wow. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
And he was the homemade wine. And then when my great-grandpa Schneider passed that morning, my stomach dropped, and I had a weird dream of the 3 glasses, all like the bottled homemade wine, the shot glass, all empty. That
Wow.
the night before, and then the phone call came, and it's like they met up for drinks, and then 2 of them went on, and my grandpa stuck around still.
That's crazy. Speaking of dreams, and like, I remember having a dream. I think it was like a month before my grandma passed, where I'm not really prone to having dreams where I can't move or scream or whatever. But this was one of those dreams where I dreamt that my grandma like came into my room holding her chest, and she was like limping and couldn't breathe, and I was trying to get up to help her, and I couldn't move, and I'm literally trying to scream out and help. And yeah, that really affected me for like a couple days after. And I like as soon as I was able to call my mom, I'm like, Mom, go check up on grandma, please. I want to make sure that she's okay. I had this dream. So yeah, that was just pretty much letting me know that my grandma was on the verge of dying. And yeah, and watching someone die is really painful and really messes with you. And I don't want to experience that ever again if I can help it. But you know, I definitely should have gone to therapy right after that.
Yeah. Death has always been really weird for me. Like when I was younger, my grandpa was the only one that like ever really looked out for me. And he was really super close to me. So like I think I was 5 or 6 when he died. And like going up and like seeing like, you know, because when I was younger, like growing up, I was watching like Nightmare on Elm Street, like no big problem. So like going up and like seeing a dead body and like seeing somebody you loved and care about, like actually being gone and still and like forever being gone, like I think that kind of traumatized me. Like, oh, monsters on TV aren't real, but like this is real. And like I wrote him a note and like I put it in his suit and like everything like that. And so like years later in 2014 when my mom, she died, I didn't go down to Florida to see her funeral or anything like that because I just couldn't. And so I think it's kind of always messed with me. So like I never even though I couldn't, like I've never had that final visualization of her actually being gone. So I'll always dream like she'll call me from the Bahamas and be like, I've been here the whole time, ha ha ha, just having a fun time, like, you know. And I think it's because even though death is such a weird thing for us as humans, you still need that kind of like final mental image at a funeral. Like we always think of that as such like a process.
Yeah, the closure.
It is a closure. It is a very real thing of seeing, like, because in my mind I always think like I've never seen her dead, so how do I really really know that she is finally gone? You know what I'm saying? Even
Mhm.
like got the death certificate, I saw her cremation records, like everything like that. Like I know where she's buried in Florida, but like I always have those dreams. Like she just calls me up. I'm like, where have you been all this time? Like, why haven't you called me? And it's so crazy to me to think about that kind of thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
I understand. The brain is just wild, a wild imagination machine sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, and I wasn't even that close with my grandma because of I've had issues with her being abusive and just whenever I try to do stuff for her, it would be like a guilt. I do it because I do it for her because of the guilt trip that she
Mhm.
gave me, and it was just and her being in the hospital and just even though like I had a strained relationship with her, that I still remember feeling like really bad when I thought of because I hated the abuse from her and standing over her bed. And I this is going to sound really mean, guys, but my thought was you deserve this. But then I immediately felt bad
Mhm.
about thinking that. And my sister's like, no, I almost said the same thing, and I'm just like, but to this day, I still feel guilty for thinking that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
sometimes that's just the way it is. I think I'm more comfortable with death because my father had rheumatic fever when he was 9. He wasn't supposed to live past 25. He was 30 when they adopted me. Um, Between the time I was 4 and 14, if he wasn't in the hospital, I was, or we sometimes in the same time. I didn't know if, when I got off the bus from school if he'd be there, be in the hospital, or be dead. Death became every day. And, I, I don't want to say, yeah, it's just death, but it's not as traumatic most of the time for me because that's that's just it, and maybe some of it's some of my pagan beliefs too, but you don't, I don't feel like I need to fear death.
yeah,
Yeah.
see, I don't know if I fear death so much. It's you know, I I don't know if I really want to know how I die because then I'd be focusing on how to stop it.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, uh, but I think it's more the what happens after we die. Like, do we have a confirmation of what actually happens, or is it whatever what we think happens, what we believe happens after death? Is that what happens for us? You know.
Willow, you have spirits traveling through your house. Isn't that confirmation?
Well,
I
like
guess.
Um,
strangely, oh, sorry.
as a Norseman, a Viking, we do believe in reincarnation. You're either going to be in Freya's hall or Odin's hall, or you're going to say, I need to go back to the battle. And you meet people that they've got to be reincarnated because they've got the wisdom of the ages. And yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. I'm either going to be celebrating in Freya's hall, or I'm going to say, yeah, I want to give it a go.
Yeah.
What were you going to
Um,
say, Allie?
Oh, when it comes to death, like I'm not overly fond of death because it has taken way too many family, but I'm not scared of it either. Like, strangely, me and my mom have both had, and I've had another spiritual person basically say, like, this sounds like you're helping guide the souls of the dead, but we dream of guiding these faceless beings to doors, and we never cross over the door. We just open it for them. And
Hmm.
my mom says it doesn't hurt her to open the door, but I feel like this numbing shock, and I'll wake up with my arm numb, and I'll be
Mm.
exhausted afterwards if I've had too many of this dream that night. But when I grab the door, I feel like my arm goes numb, almost like I touched something that I shouldn't have. But I open the door and I let them through. And someone spiritual said that it sounds like we're opening the door for the dead. And because my mom's near-death experience, she doesn't feel the door. Like, she doesn't get that same sensation from the door that I, who haven't almost died, feel.
Huh.
So, like,
Wow.
I don't think there's a night that goes by where I don't have a weird dream where I'm walking somebody to a door. And sometimes it's like such a sad thing. Sometimes they're so happy to let go of their burden. It's uplifting, but that door is hard for me. So,
Yeah.
like, I don't fear death. I kind of, I guess, have a working relationship.
Well, I know, Donna, you just recently found your family members through a blood test through DNA
Yes.
testing. Is that, do you guys share the same kind of bonds, spiritual bonds?
Especially with two of the sisters, they walked in and I went, I'm related to them. And it's just like, it's like we've had always known each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a lot of information to come back. We haven't covered near enough of it, but we're just at ease immediately. You know how it can be kind of awkward the first time you meet somebody, and there wasn't that at all.
Yeah.
And I'm getting text messages and DMs on Facebook, like, "Good morning, sis. Hi, sis. Hello, beautiful." Like this, and part of it is not because part of it's because I didn't know there were children born after me, and I didn't know that anybody knew about me and was looking for me, but my birth mother didn't like me. You know, you feel that in the womb. A baby can feel that. And in talking with my sisters, and the one in particular uh, went to lunch was just her, I, and Carl, and she was telling me some stuff, and I'm like, I knew that about her because I felt it, uh, and I never, I never went looking for her while she was alive because I didn't want to meet her. I, you know, uh, because I had the feeling she didn't want to meet me. And then to find out that she had told her mother, my grandmother, that I was stillborn, oh, that kind of proved what I felt. So I didn't even start looking for anybody until after she was out of the way. But yeah, if you're looking for somebody, that DNA thing is wonderful.
Okay. That I've been tempted to do that. Like, I definitely want to try and see what comes up. We have Molly saying that my husband crossed over 3 times in one night back in 2005. He said it was warm and comforting, and someone was trying to hand him something, but every time he reached for it, he'd be back and in pain. I walked into the hospital room, and my first thought was, that's not my husband. He was twitching and muttering and fighting the tech. and he also said he felt pure love. That kind of goes along with okay, so I'll play this video from Rachel Bradley. She is Christopher Titus's wife, comedian, and she's hilarious. You guys will definitely like this bit. Okay. Now, if I can only just get... This thing doesn't like me at all.
Come on, robots.
There we go. Can you guys see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No audio.
Yeah, I think the audio is.
Hold on a sec. Why does it... This thing never works right for me. I apologize, guys. But yeah, no, I don't have any stories to go along with this. But yeah, it's crazy. I've been paying attention to stuff like this on YouTube and even on TikTok. There's a couple stories.
There was they called it a documentary out. I'm thinking mid 80s about near death experiences, and it was quite interesting to hear these people's stories of what had happened to them, and they made it. It was a major movie that was in the theater at the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, as Dan pointed out, Tech doesn't like Joe Dog from Stupid O'Clock either. He has the same problems.
All right. Is it coming up?
Yep.
Okay. And
It's not even got the picture on it.
hi. Okay. Yep. Okay. I don't know what's going on with this thing. I apologize, guys.
Maybe it knows it's the end. It's almost the end of the hour. Your spirit guide is saying, "No, we don't have time for that."
Pay attention to me.
Yeah.
I would if I could, get my camera working to have like the passageway without showing other things that shouldn't be on camera. Let's not do that again. Actually, yeah, I had a show that I had to delete one time because my husband walked through the view of the camera. So yeah. All right. So I've kind of been ignoring the chat, and I apologize, guys. I'll post up the video of Rachel Bradley's experience on my page so that everybody can watch it. Okay, Eli says that he had a visit from a friend more than a few times, and apparently my grandfather sounds cool. He was a really good guy. Like he was one of the types of guys that would give the shirt off his back to anyone, and he pretty much held the family together. And when he passed away, I think that was the reason why a lot of my family members kind of didn't chat with each other afterwards, because the glue was gone. So
yeah, grandpas tend to be the glue, and I know a lot of my family started like drifting off once.
Yeah, and I there's things about like when my grandma passed away, I grabbed some of her journals, and sadly, I think a lot of what she wrote down prior to her going into the home was stashed away in boxes. So I don't have those journals. But from what I gather is that she wanted me to take her stuff, and I'm just like, she wanted me to keep her memories, and I'm just like, it's funny because like I would totally be the one to collect the pictures, and it was important for me to grab the family Bible, even though I'm not like Christian or believe in that stuff. It was important to grab the family Bible after she passed away.
Well, there's personal information in those too. It's not just the Bible; it's family information in it.
Yeah. So it was just she knew that I would be the one to curate that information.
Even when grandparents have their bad sides, they do tend to know their grandchildren.
Yeah.
I love my grandpa, but I know all about his bad sides. My mother did not let us have any delusion there. But he knew all his grandkids. He knew, especially because I still hear him. I have conversations with him in my dreams, and he knew. And when you put the pieces together of the things he said before he died, it's like you knew your grandkids 100%. My brother is trans, and he would never refer to Casey as a girl. Never, not once. And Casey is female to male.
Oh, okay.
He never once referred to Casey as a girl. He would always make sure he got him boy stuff. And this is years before Casey said anything. But he knew his grandson.
Mm-hmm.
He knew me. We had a whole thing with his special medicine wheel where I was the one that got to touch it, and every time my mom would yell, it would be, "Don't worry about it," because he knew that I saw something in it that nobody else did.
That's cute. Yeah, I wish I had the bond that a lot of people had with their grandparents, but I did have a bit of a bond with my grandfather. He passed away when I was 9, and I love classic cars because of him.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, my mom's parents. Mom was a change of life baby. So by the time I came along, they were in their late 80s. I turned 8 in November. Grandma died in December. Grandpa died the following September. So they were a little too old to really like be with me. And Grandpa, especially looking back, I'm pretty sure he had Alzheimer's the last year or two of his life. My father's parents were a name that I can't, a word that I can't say on here, because was adopted, and there were two of us cousins who were adopted. We were not of the family. They even put it in their wills that we were not of the family. So I haven't had a grandparent since I was like 8 years old.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh man. So Dan says, my wife says I have a talent for finding lost jewelry. I'm always finding earrings in parking lots and bracelets or chains. You know, I'll occasionally find lost jewelry myself too. And my my banshee is starting to scream at me. So I guess, well, 9:00. I guess the sounding alarms. It's time. I guess that's the show. But you know, I'm want to just show off some of these comments. Yes, Rusty, we'll go to bed soon. Where were you last year when I lost an earring at Benton? Molly says somewhere in Georgia. And Keisha came to say hi. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you, Keisha.
She wasn't here long.
Yeah. So I'm hoping her pregnancy is going well. Good night, y'all. I'm not made for late nights now. Understandable.
I need to rest.
Yeah. I am working. I'm working at a pet store, which is a much better job than working at Starbucks. You hear it here, folks, because I as much as I love my job at Starbucks, you know, the pet store is a way better fit for me. And I get to pick up hours whenever I want, basically. my boss is pretty cool with that. It's like, hey, do you need people? But yeah. So no, I really enjoyed this chat, guys. Thank you very much. Allie, where can we find you on social media?
What is the name now? I changed it, so I have to double check.
I need to show off these ears that you made. So yeah, she has an art show coming up if you guys happen to be in the Winnipeg area.
Okay, so the name is Alley Cat Oddities on Instagram, and it's spelt like my name. So like a lot of people try to put an I or an E, but it's just like ALLY Cat Oddities. And it shows like all my latest little weirdness.
Excellent. Donna, where can we find you on social media?
Social media, I'm only on Facebook. I'm not a social person at all. You can find a list of all my books on the Joe Bachman's Independent Creative Directory. And I will soon be adding another book to that list.
Oh, okay. I will try to go back to the edit screen and add in your guys' links at the end. Kale, where can we find you on social media or
at Creepy Kale? Oh, there it is, right there. At Creepy Kale on Instagram.
Excellent. And you guys can find me pretty much all over social media. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Facebook, everywhere. So you guys have a great night. Thank you for joining us, and you guys are awesome. Thank you for making this show so great. Hope you guys have a great night, and please have great dreams. I know this was kind of your
Hopefully they're not
topic.
too lucid.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
Okay.
Thank you for having us.
See
See you
next
guys soon.
Night, everybody.